That was a good salad. Who's going to do the dishes?
Hi, welcome to Dishes Out. We're here to respond to ridiculous comments, the naysayers, and the negative stereotypes.
Yes, we're not going to let harmful and hateful comments have the last word. We're dishing it out, spilling the tea, and breaking down the words that divide, harm, and hurt.
So join us every Friday for a new episode.
Dishes out.
On the whim.
We can.
We can get it on the whim. Okay, which is this episode's about Welcome to Dishes, and which is
Welcome to
every
Dishes
week.
Out. Yes,
We're
everyone.
gonna give you like a real live on the whim commentary on some of the common or situations or even news sometimes that we hear.
Yes, yeah. There's always going to be comments. There's always going to be people who disagree, who are very mean-hearted, but also spread a lot of lies and hate, and that's why we're here.
And ignorance in some sense. They would just open their mouth without knowing anything. And then they call you ignorant because even though you are the one who knows things and they don't know, but because your point of view does not match theirs, so they call you stupid.
It's true.
I was like, have you ever applied, for example, immigration, which is today's topic's about?
It is. We did a post. I hadn't done one in a while, and I posted it on TikTok, and you know what? There was a lot of hearts. There's maybe 2 comments on TikTok, but y'all, Insta was the hounds of hate were released. They were just...
I know.
all over the place. And there's too many comments to really respond to. I stopped commenting because I couldn't.
There's no
keep up.
point. Yeah.
Over 500 comments.
Yeah. There's no point. This haters gonna hate.
They are.
Yeah.
Do you want to read what the post was about?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me give you the post. The post literally just says, waiting for your immigration status to be approved should not be a crime. Again, the key is on waiting on your immigration status to be approved should not be a crime. And the incompetence of a government should not merit punishment of immigrants.
Yeah.
I think personally, that statement, nowhere in that statement guarantees that kind of much hate and anger, because waiting for a status does not mean we welcome people coming with no permit, no status, no legal status, no paper, no anything. Waiting for a status is really common in Canada. Like we all apply for PR. We all apply for student permit, both for you and me. And when you're applying for those renewal of those visas or permits, on the day you submitted that application, you assume status.
Yes.
Right? So that means you're on the waiting period. And then sometimes for what stupid reason they decline because there's one letter typo or they change the rules. Or sometimes they usually say 6 months and they take 9 months. Like
short staff, which has happened so much in Canada. So much. Yes.
We're just trying to shed light on that kind of situation that sometimes when we're waiting for that to be renewed or with that permit to be granted, that there's a lot of difficulty that is actually happen because of the government, not because of me.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, they prolong the process. They decline because of one stupid typo. They can't just let me submit one right away.
Computer
or
system
they change,
as well.
Or they change just change it overnight. So I'm like, just cut number right overnight.
Yeah.
So even though I have all the right, there's no typo on my documents, I still didn't get it because they just suddenly decided to cut numbers, which is not my fault. And
No.
Yeah. So we're just trying to say that in that kind of situation, like the immigrants should not be punished. They didn't do anything.
No. In fact, immigrants always try to do the right thing. They came to do the right thing. They don't want to go back. Why would they mess something up here? So they had to go back. Like I'll speak to even just how many instances. So I'll speak to 2 specific instances so my husband, I came under a student work permit. And then when I got married to an American, he had to apply for legal status to be here. And that status was a spouse work permit. So it was basically saying I'm the spouse of an international student status person. I need a document saying that that's why I'm here. Okay. So he has that. My husband, though, works for a U.S. company. So his status is not tied to his employment, which most immigrants, your status is tied to your employment. There's only certain jobs you can do depending on if you have just a work permit, or if you have an international student work permit, you can only work maybe 20 hours a week. There's so much complexity with
there's
all
a
of
lot.
these documents, right? So over time pass, my husband, his work permit expired, but it's totally slipped his mind because his employment isn't tied to that piece of paper. So
Exactly.
for a while, he was
doesn't need it.
undocumented.
Oh.
And for a while, it's this other thing, like when you apply to renew that status, like you said, the government gives you quote unquote assumed status. Okay. But still, he is considered by all of these bobos on the social media illegal. He's an illegal person.
Illegal.
And so right now in Trump's America, that would merit being detained and sent to El Salvador.
Deported.
Yeah. Right? There's a second instance, okay? After I think it was like 3 years, we had been in Canada, we apply for our permanent residency. So we get all our paperwork together, and we knew we were applying under the federal skilled worker stream. There's two kinds of, when you're applying within country, there's two kinds that you can apply for. The federal skilled immigrant or Canadian experience stream. Canadian experience requires a certain amount of work hours in Canada in order to apply for permanent residency. We knew we didn't have enough hours for the Canadian experience stream. So we applied through the federal skilled immigrant. It gets rejected because the computer system saw that I had Canadian work experience and funneled me through the Canadian experience stream, even though I knew that we didn't qualify for that and we were rejected.
Yeah.
We had just spent close to $3,000 for the application. It came back to us. We had to hire a lawyer to redo our permanent resident application. And we had to reapply for an open work permit because that was near expiration. So you're talking $3,000 to $5,000 just in a computer error that the government had. And so when people say undocumented, illegal, most people have undocumented status because their visas expire or because the government is incompetent and cannot complete or process paperwork in time. Or they change the rules, or they change the numbers. And so
the numbers.
This is the whole point of the post, is that why are we punishing people for the lack of competence and efficiency that our governments demonstrate? Like thankfully, we were privileged. We had money to throw at a lawyer to say, help us get this legal. Like, we want to make this happen. But there are other people who don't have the money, and they don't have the money to go back. So they try to do what they can with their circumstances as they are. We're trying to point out the humanity and the complexity of immigration pathways and how immigrants come. It's so complicated.
It's very complicated. And that's another thing angers me, because a lot of people in this post, they never even apply to be immigrant. They don't understand the different pathways, the complexity, the financial burden, the anxiety. And sometimes you have to have enough energy, literacy, sometimes even to understand all these different standards. So imagine if the mother invited a refugee, I forgot her name, who is a war hero. Like, you don't speak the language, but you know, she's a war refugee here. Imagine if she's alone by herself, navigating all those wordings, the government website, how it is done. Like, she's here legally too as a refugee.
Right.
But is it her fault, you know, that the war happened?
No.
That she needs to apply for refugee status? No. But then the system is difficult. It's against her for all these legal status, legal proceedings to get a status here, even though there was none of her fault. In Canada, we already willingly accepted her.
Right.
Again, we put her here.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
That's just it. Like, people don't apply without having that. Like, people have to come here through a certain stream. They have to come, whether it's a visitor visa, whether it's a work permit, international student permit. I'm sorry, CBSA does not just be like, oh, I don't have anything. Okay, come on over. No, they're always asking for your documentation. They're always asking for paperwork. And if you don't have it, you get turned away or thrown into a detention center. Because guess what? Canada has them too. Here's the other thing, that it is absolutely ridiculous that we are measuring a person's value and worth based on a damn piece of paper. over a damn arbitrary border. That somehow we think that, oh, because you crossed this invisible line and you don't have this specific piece of paper, therefore we must hate you and treat you like subhuman because of this system that we invented. It's a made up system to begin with. And yet we're treating people like animals, and it doesn't make sense. It's just the It's take this anger, all of these noobs, they need to take all of their anger and put it towards something that actually merits anger.
I know. And also what angers me also showcase their ignorance in some sense. They're angry first. Oh, if you're illegal, you should not be here. That's because that's the law. That was like, but let's say they are illegally here. There's many illegal things happening every day. Why don't you be a champion of those? You think that you think all the billionaires also not paying their taxes is legal? The polluting environment, that's legal. Why don't you be a champion of that? All these billionaires who not paying the taxes, not paying the fair share, that making your living situation more seriously bad and your grocery prices up. The immigrants that are here has not cost anything. Have they committed crime? Anyone that you saw on the news that committed crime by illegal immigrant? Are they applying for a social benefit that call them like, I don't know, sucking up all the welfare system in Canada? They can't, by the way. They have no legal, if they really truly no legal status, they cannot apply anything.
Yeah, this is the land of paperwork, people.
Exactly.
Like go ahead.
Why are you angry? Like, why? Like, what have they done to you?
I know. The other thing, and I tried to use this argument with one person and it totally fell apart, but it was like the term illegal is such a easy, convenient, lazy, harmful label that people like to just default to. It's interesting that the only time illegal is applied to a person is in this situation. But if someone is illegally driving without insurance, they're not an illegal person. They are driving illegally. There's a big difference. You could say living here illegally. I'd like to say living here without status.
Yes.
Or undocumented, in the sense of it's not the person's fault, it's the system that created this to begin with.
I know, and they call them like criminals, call the immigrant like criminals. Why don't you call a driver with no insurance criminal then? It's about the wording sometimes.
It is. And that's the English language. It's so privileged. It's like we have the power. We're going to demonize, dehumanize we're going to put people down in our language. And that's English language because it's written from a place of privilege. It is created, and the words that we use have for a long time been very harmful and have othered people and have made them threats when they're really not.
I agree. Just to sum up.
Yeah.
I think people, yes, they're definitely kind of people being here without a status, but I think calling them illegal is a bit
really
far-fetched. Yeah, it's very extreme because they might be here because there's a lot of circumstance in the pathway make them why it's the reason why they're here without a status. And most of the time, I would say most of the time is not because their own fault, because like we said, why do we want to live here? No one ever wants to live in a country that's not their own without status because they cannot do anything. No one ever likes that.
Exactly.
Everyone, I can guarantee you, everyone is within their power try to make being here with a status.
Exactly.
That is just a guarantee.
Exactly.
No one like to live on an edge. Like, just use common sense here, people.
Yeah. And no one is illegal on stolen land.
Yeah, true. That is more true too.
And they're a person. There's no personalizing or humanizing in all of these comments. Go to it. We turn the comments back on. Anytime I turned on I opened the app, I was like, 58 new comments. Oh, how many more names do I want to subject myself to, or hateful rhetoric? But if you go there, there's just no humanization, whether they're from the States or Canada. It honestly doesn't matter. The fact that this is the sentiment is really disgusting and horrible, and we should be better at speaking up and out and against it, and not being a bystander. And if you see these kind of comments going on, just say something. I think we need to. But Meta's unhinged now, and there's no checks and balances. But we keep going. We keep doing. We keep posting, and we keep telling the truth, because you know what? These people their arguments are very small, and they're very misaligned and ignorant. And once you start looking at it and the hate, I don't know.
I know
don't
there's a
know.
lot of that. But I would like to believe there's more love than hate out in this world.
Yeah, there is. There is. Yeah, there is. And
There
we're
was
here.
going to be it.
Yeah.
And we're here.
Yeah.
At least two of
Dishes
us.
Out is our love answer to the hate. You're welcome, Instagram people. And you are
But
people.
I think Dishes Out definitely is a good thing for me that sometimes it transform this kind of hateful comments for me into a positive thing because every time something hateful comes in, my
Yeah.
initial instincts are, ooh, something to talk about.
Yeah,
Other than,
same.
oh, how awful.
Same.
This person.
Same.
So
Yeah.
I think this is a good response because hateful things
It
are always
is.
gonna exist.
Always.
To end of this world, to the day that the earth explodes, there's still gonna be hateful things beside to this earth. That's just
There
sadly the
is.
truth of
There
humanity.
is.
But then at least
Yeah.
we can see it differently now. That can
Yeah.
see as I think something we can talk about. So we transform
Yeah.
negativity into positivity.
That's right. That's right. That's your Dishes Out. So if you enjoy these Dishes Out, just join us every Friday. We've got new episodes coming every Friday. The short form, not a lot of data, but a lot of common sense, heart, and love that we're trying to pour back out into the world. Despite
And
all
logic.
of this.
We
And
use
logic.
logic too.
Yeah, we do. We are very logical people. That's true.
I think most of the time.
Jay. Thank you, Hoshin. It's really good to process this too with someone. I think that's the other piece, just to know that people, you're not alone, and we see the hate, we feel it, and again, though, love gets the last word. Love gets the final
I
say.
agree. We get the last word because they don't have a podcast.
They don't. Oh, dang, snap! You're so right. Yeah, and if you do get a podcast, let's just unplug that joke because no one needs that hate anymore. Anyway. All right. Thanks
See
for
you
joining
next
us, everyone.
week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Canadian Salad is written and produced in British Columbia, Canada by Hoshin Ho and Andrea McCoy. Theme music is by Naver Avetyan from Pixabay.
I like oranges with my salad.